We had an incredible journey with Casefile, and continuing to do so. Now in this video, I want to share with you 3 tips that in my opinion can help you to successfully grow your podcast. And there will be a bonus variable at the end as well. Hi, it's Mike from Casefile and Casefile Presents. On this channel I'm releasing videos on podcasting and audio production. So if you enjoy this kind of content, you can hit subscribe or notification buttons. After over 5 years in a podcasting space, we were able to grow our main show, which is Casefile True Crime, to hundreds of millions of downloads. We are also able to feature on top of the charts continuously. Now this happened without these big companies backing us and big marketing spend. We're also able to successfully launch several shows under Casefile Presents umbrella, and hopefully we'll continue to do so for a very long time. Exact success is never replicable because there are just so many variables. Also, podcasting is all about originality, and each success's strength is its uniqueness. However, I think there are a few sort of general rules that can help you to achieve success in this space. At least they worked for us. In this video, I'm gonna go through 3 of them and then break them down a little bit further. Let's start with content. Content is and always be king. People with best stories will gather great audiences and the best listeners. So it's the same for podcasting. The content will always win in a long run. And I want to break it down a little bit further into specifics, what works for podcasting when it comes to content. The first one is the voice. Podcasting is all about the audio and developing connections through sound. It's similar to radio and to some extent music, where the host or the hosts and their voices are crucial. The voice can be soothing or dramatic or fun, easy to listen to. There are so many angles to it. But one thing is true. It needs to be likable. People need to like the voice and want to listen to it for sometimes hours on end. The second thing is storytelling. Now, people told stories from the dawn of time, and they will continue to do so until they cease to exist. And in podcasting, story is the center of it. Everything else, the voice, the production, the team is there to support the story. There are so many mediums that let you to tell your stories, and I think that right now podcasting is one of the best ones out there. Now, it could be a comedy show, a true crime, an interview, a chat show, it doesn't matter. There needs to be some kind of narrative, some kind of flow or a timeline to your podcast, even if it's fragmented to some extent. And if you get like 2 bodies talking about nothing, then it's gonna be really hard to develop an audience for it. People need to be grabbed by the story from the beginning and then hold onto until the very, very end. And right now the attention span, it's quite short. Hence why it's so difficult to develop these stories. And do not take anybody's time for granted, because time is our most precious resource. So if someone decides to share their time with you, take it seriously, because it's as easy as clicking the next button to jump to another show. And the third one, when it comes to content, is consistency. When people click on your show, they need to know why they're listening, and they need to know what they'll be listening to. And if one episode you talk about true crime, and in a second about politics, and third books, and fourth movies, then it's gonna be quite difficult for you to develop an audience. There is an exemption to this rule, and for example with big personalities or celebrities, people just tune in to hear them to talk about whatever. But for most of us, consistency with your content will be the key to developing an audience and listenership. That's it when it comes to content. Let's now talk about audio quality. Podcasting is all about the sound. Now, there seems to be an opinion, at least in some corners, that podcasting is easy. You just record, upload, and then people will listen to whatever. Now, ask yourself this: why would you listen or read or watch a badly produced thing? There's so much good art and content out there that, in my opinion, something that's bad or even mediocre doesn't deserve anybody's attention. Now, don't get me wrong, the story will always win. You can have the best production, the most expensive show with actors and hosts and the best voice, but if the story is bad, then that won't help you. More than likely you will fail. On the other hand, if you got a great story and so audio production, you will still get people interested. However, if you want to have a continued success in the long run and scale up, then you need both great stories and great audio quality. Let's start with recording your podcast. Ideally, you have a nice microphone and a quiet setup. Then you have that microphone set up in the same position and use the same settings. The way you speak to your microphone matters. However, what kind of microphone matters even more. So, learn basics about recording and production and microphones. And you don't need a professional studio, you don't need a microphone worth thousands of pounds, but also don't think you can get away with a cheap £20 microphone or the ones that you get with your mobile phone earbuds. The second step is production. Audio production is not easy. It's not super difficult when it comes to basics, but don't think you can just, record and upload whatever. What about editing? What about EQ, compression, and, keeping everything at the same level? You want people to be able to understand what's actually being said on your podcast. Not to mention, if you want to add a little bit of music on top of the dialogues, some basic mixing techniques need to apply as well. Also, you don't need an expensive equipment to do a nice audio production. You definitely don't need anything like I have. You can do everything in the box. That means within your computer with a nice pair of headphones. Like, seriously. The thing is, audio production takes time. It's slow work. That's why a lot of people tend to skim on it. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of expensive productions that are out there that I check and then think to myself, did no one listen to it before the release? And that leads me to the last point, and that's going to be the same as we talked about when we talked about content, and that's consistency. You want to have consistency in your audio quality. And of course, yes, you update your plugins, you learn, you improve your episodes. However, in terms of settings and your template and recording, you do want to strive for consistency. You want to have the same levels, you want the episodes to sound similar to each other, so when someone's listening to your podcast, you want them to go seamlessly from one episode to the next one, and you definitely don't want the listener to, play with volume during listening of one of your episodes. You want people to have a nice listening experience every time they click play. The last element that we're gonna look at is teamwork. Teamwork is the third leg of podcasting success. You'll need a team of dedicated people who care about your show and together bring out the episodes to the listeners. Of course, you can start by yourself, you can do it alone at the beginning, but it's very difficult and I would argue impossible to scale up and achieve long-term success by yourself. So the team of great people will be there when there's problems to be solved, when there are issues popping out. Also, if it's just you'll stretch yourself too thin and it's just not going to work. Obviously, one thing is to gather the right people to work on your show. But even then, there are a few things that you've got to work on from within. And the first one, in my opinion, is feedback. It's really important to have an open feedback platform where everyone can, raise their voice and offer their opinion. The feedback needs to be heard, discussed, and if needed, the changes have to be implemented straight away. And, if a team member feels like they're not being heard, they will grow in resentment and sabotage your project from the center, from the middle of it. So, listening to even the most trivial feedback, it's really, really crucial. And the same goes for our next point, which is ideas. To stop growing is to die. You need to keep moving, experimenting to some degree, and of course trying out new ideas. It's a fine balance between doing what you know is working and also evolving and experimenting. Ideas need to be heard, and it doesn't matter if someone's senior or they've just started. It has to be encouraged to brainstorm, to try a new thing, to raise new things as well. And ideas can be good, they can be bad. It doesn't matter. They should be still discussed, and no one should ever be criticized for, bringing ideas to you. And the last thing when it comes to teamwork is dedication. You want people to be dedicated to their work and care about your podcast, about your show. In order to do so, you've got to discover what motivates them. Discover their incentives. For some can be money or flexibility, freedom, getting credit, whatever. What I find is that things like money or getting credit, they're kind of shallow. And once you take care of them, you still need to dig deeper and discover the real motivation for people. Why does anyone do anything? Why are you doing it? Once you discover it, it's a challenge. It will pay off in the long run in the most awesome way. These are the 3 elements that I think are necessary to successfully grow and then, sustain your podcast. However, there is something else that I think we need to talk about, and it is necessary to, win. And that's luck. I'm a big proponent of randomness and luck. And, everyone knows the saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I know it, everyone knows that. However, there's so many things in life, most of the things in life are outside of our control, and they happen by, random events. You can have the best team, the best content, the teamwork's there, the stories are there, and still no luck. Or you can maybe start your podcast tomorrow from your bedroom with bad quality, it's just you, and suddenly you gain huge following and recognition straight away. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we get unlucky, and remembering it will help you keep you humble along the way. Why? Well, let's say you do get success and to attribute a bit of it to luck. Then you'll know not to go out and boast about, how awesome and how smart you are. Or you work really, really hard and then no luck. Well, instead of thinking that you suck or you're stupid, you'll understand that, this time it just didn't work out. Do your work, but also keep it real. And just like the very, very old saying goes, sometimes Lady Luck gives and sometimes she takes it away. That's it for today. I'm Mike Migas. If you enjoyed this kind of content, if you want to learn about podcasting or audio production, you can check the rest of my channel or my website, mikemigas.com. For now, you can share, you can like or subscribe, and I'll see you later.